Okay, hi. Morning coffee. I'm enjoying my good American coffee until the tariffs kick in and make it too expensive to buy. And then I'm going to miss it because I know that's not going to go away anytime soon. Okay, I wanted to talk to you about a dream I had. That's why I want to get on here kind of early. It's also the weather's not good for going out in the woods today because it's super windy out there. We got a big storm moving in, and we'll probably get some snow out of it. So I have a meeting on Thursday, so that's really important. Praying really hard for that. Okay, so the dream I had was last night, and it was actually a vision because I was pretty much wide awake, and I asked the Lord to show me about the beast system, the beast mark, and everything else like that. And what I saw in this, it was like watching a movie. It was like I was like watching, kind of like watching TV. It wasn't really that interactive, and I saw them advertising this object, and it was like a donut shaped. It was like a donut shaped object that had no reference to the size at all. It was kind of a grayish white. It was a very light gray. It was very flat. There are two versions. There's like a flat version. There's one that had that was more like a wheel shaped. Anyway, it was a donut shaped. It was a donut shaped object, and I didn't recognize it right away as like a computer chip because it looked very different than a regular computer chip. I've never seen anything like that before. Probably should do a search and see if I can find anything that looks similar to that on the market. So, anyways, I saw this advertisement, and it was integrative. It was integrative biotech. It was integrative biotech, and the next scene in the and again, this is like I was just sitting there like watching TV. This is like a vision that was like watching TV. There was a family out on having a picnic on this hillside, and it looked English. The area where this family was looked like an English countryside. The area looked English. It didn't look like it was around here. I didn't recognize the people at all. And then as I was watching, they vanished into thin air. So, and the next scene after that, it kind of reminded me of like in the Hobbit movie. What was it? What was that called? Oh gosh, it was a long time ago. Lord of the Rings, I think. Fellowship of the Ring. Okay. When the hobbits, Frodo had the vision in Galadriel's whatever, of the hobbits going into slavery, of Sauron won the battle and everything else like that. The next scene was very similar, had a very similar feel to that scene. Everybody was enslaved. Everybody was enslaved. Nobody had a will of their own. They looked like they were possessed, and then the vision ended after that. Now, the people disappearing on the hillside, I'm not sure if that was the rapture or not. There was like no explanation as to what was going on in that thing. Is it symbolic of them disappearing as a family and then going into slavery? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what that means. There were no bombs. It was a nice day. The sky was clear. It was in the middle of the day, and they just went, whoop, just vanished from the feet to the head, from the feet to the head, just like I don't know, just like they were being erased or something. So I'm not sure what that represents. It was not clear in the dream. The advertisement was I don't think was the beast himself. I think it was a predecessing technology to that. I think that's, and I suspect that the people disappearing are the rapture, and that the rapture happens after this technology is introduced. And I don't know. There are chips that do control emotions. We do have emotion control chips. They're implanted in the brain, and they're very hard and very expensive to get a hold of. This was my hunch. My sense was this was based on quantum computing. And my husband said something. Joe, lay down. My Yeah, settle down. Don't you act up, please. My husband said something about quantum computing. He's asleep upstairs right now. About quantum computing that kind of got to me. He said that we were talking about what it was based on and how it worked. And he said it doesn't work very well. He says, but I think people need to be. He said, I think people need to be careful about using it. He says, because they may be communicating with something they don't want to be communicating with. And I think that might be the case. And I'll tell you before I came back to Christ, that's exactly what I was doing. I was using a radio to do this. And the idea was to scan the stations very rapidly. I do it manually, or or put it on a blank station, and then examine the scan using a recording for messages. And it worked. It actually worked. I wasn't communicating with something that was good either. And let me tell you something, where that led me was not a good place. Don't ever do that. Okay? It is not a good place to be. It wasn't a good place for me. And so anyways, but is it possible for people to communicate with like an entity and obtain information about this kind of technology? And the answer is yes, they can. It's entirely possible to build technology from these kind of communications. I actually did it. I actually build a tool based on these communications. So it's entirely possible to build technology if you have a good line. You can entirely do that. It's not a problem. And in fact, that may be already happening, because you don't need a lot of special equipment to be able to do that. You just need a regular radio. You can do it with a regular analog radio. People use digital radios, but I don't think they work as well. Anyway, we're not gonna go into that. The second thing is are there entities that we're in contact with that do this kind of technology? And the answer is yes. And I studied this for a long time, and unfortunately, it's not been paid attention to, which is exactly what what these entities want. I've actually seen them. I haven't interacted because it fled. It fled when I approached it. It did not want to interact with me. Certainly has exhibited the same fear of other Christians as well. And I wasn't really following at that time. I was in a pagan group at the time. And it's still, but I'm still sealed with the Holy Spirit, even though I had left the church. And I came back then after about a year ago. So and that kind of some of those types of entities have that kind of technology and use it. It's been taken out of people and examined. It's anomalous. It's very small technology. It's nanotechnology. It's embedded in the nerves, and then it grows a kind of a casing around it to protect it and prevent the body from rejecting it. It's made of materials that are not rejected by the body. When, like surgical steel is known to be tolerated well by the body. It's why it's used. Titanium's used because it's also for implants and things in regular medicine, because it's well tolerated by the body. So yes, this kind of technology exists. This kind of technology is entirely possible right now if the communication using quantum computers is indeed coming from like an interdimensional place. There is entirely possible to build technology based on the communication from there, and it doesn't take a great deal of skill or equipment to do that. I mean, if I'd had the equipment and the understanding of the physics of the construction of the electronics, I could have done that as well. I could have done it based on what I was receiving there. So I do know for a fact that it is possible to do that. It's kind of scary, but it also, we also have that hope. I like to think that the family, because it was the thing about the family disappearing is that this was like a normal family. This was like a mother and a father, and there were a couple of kids, and they were just sitting there on a hillside enjoying the summer day. And just as they were doing, there was no sign, there was no loud noise, nothing. It just poof there, and then from the feet up to the head. So I mean, I think that gives us some hope. I think that gives us hope that we're not going to be confronted with this system. And I mean, because if you do accept that chip, if you do accept integrative technology, your will is going to be gone. Your will is going to be controlled by somebody else. And the person or the entity that's going to be controlling your will is not going to be beneficial to you. So that's kind of what I had for a vision last night, and that's it concerns me that my husband would say that, talk about it in that way, because I never thought about it. But the possible unreliability of the quantum computers could be that they're operating outside of the physical dimension. Maybe they're operating in a different way than what we usually perceive, and just not transmitting the information back to the physical world. If that's the case, they're very dangerous. And I expect we'll probably, at some point, we'll start hearing about that. I don't know. I haven't heard anything like that. And, he's more knowledgeable about that sort of thing than I am. But that concerns me because of my experience in the past with this. So remember that, Jesus Christ is always with us. And our focus here really is to be spreading his word, his prayer, spreading his word, and also serving others. And this has to be done it's in a physical way. It's not something that you can do online. It means in physical involvement with people, and doing Christ's work physically with people. So I would encourage you today with that, that we're not left as orphans. We have the Holy Spirit with us. We are not alone. We have each other on this earth, and we have a Father in heaven who loves us very much. And if you haven't turned your life over to Christ, you need to do that now. We don't have much time. I don't think we have. It could be a matter of months or less even. before things start to really get rolling. And if Jesus is going to pull out his church before he allows Satan to play his hand. And you want to be on that. You want to be in that first resurrection, because if you're not, the consequences are more severe than you can imagine. So make the right decision now, because it's coming. Anyway, thanks for listening today. And, don't look down at this. I'm just telling you what happened in my vision, but you know what? It doesn't matter. We're not going to be here for that part. I was just curious about the system because of something I'd heard, a conversation that I'd had. So the Lord showed this to me. I thought I would share it with you, but, understand we're not going to be a part of that. If you make the right decision now, if you make a decision for Christ right now. Okay, well, have a good day, and I will not be here tomorrow. I have to work tomorrow, and I have a lot to do, so I'll probably be back around Friday or maybe the weekend. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. God bless you. Bye-bye.